in terms of worth, I look at every individual as unique, and you have unique things that you bring to that position that a person with the same training, similar background, they're not you. And it's your uniqueness that the hiring manager is looking to bring on board to be part of their team. And so, first of all, to get the job, you're going to have to be able to articulate that clearly. And once you can articulate that clearly, I think it's a lot easier to negotiate. So the idea of someone, the woman I was working with today said, well, you know, the position requires 5 years of experience, but they kind of gave her an offer that was much lower than her experience. She said, I have 15 years of experience, and when I was talking with the hiring manager, that person gave me this salary range, and she said, I feel I should be paid at the higher end. I'm worth it. And she actually used that term, I'm worth it. So I think to go back to what people are saying about, you know, your added value is what's important, and believing in yourself. The other thing I want to say is sometimes people don't give themselves credit for things they've done that are extracurricular activities. And two things when I hire entry-level people, I look at, did they go to college and work? And if they went to college and worked, they get points for that. And second, I look at their extracurricular activities and I say, oh, that's really great, they're involved in these things. That adds value and to who you are as a person. So don't forget to emphasize those things that maybe you weren't paid for, you did as a volunteer, or you did as an extracurricular activity, because those to me are very important.
Beth, would you add anything to that from a resume, cover letter standpoint of things that should be included up front to give you a better chance of even landing the interview to then negotiate? I mean, we're obviously assuming that we're at that point. Are there things that we should be doing leading up to that point?
Well, I think that requires sort of a really in-depth analysis of what is it that this employer needs, what are those critical skills and experiences, and then making that message extremely explicit in your resume and your cover letter. And there are a lot of different points of view on how to do that, but I think you really start that process when you put your resume and cover letter together to really define uniquely how are you best qualified for this position. So I could go into more detail about that with you individually in our office if you'd like to, but absolutely that's when it starts.
So one of the things that I was really excited about for this session, not that all of you aren't awesome, but I had actually taken Kelly's advocacy training, and the idea of pairing the skills that she was talking about around advocacy with the idea of negotiating. So, I mean, everyone can chime in on this as well, but Kelly, maybe for you, how do you see those two connecting? What are some of the skills that you teach in your workshops that might be really applicable to what we're doing here in a slightly different context?
Yeah, and I think definitely you all have a lot to add to this too, so by no means am I the expert on this, but I think there are a lot of parallels between effective advocacy and what we've been talking about here. And first of all, it starts with research and understanding the context that you're working in. And so once you have a good amount of research and you have a good idea of the range and you've done your self-budgeting and you've figured out what's my minimum and what's my, where would I be comfortable, and then what maybe is my reach salary or where I want to get, once you have a good sense of those. For me, the way I think about it is putting myself in the shoes of the person who is sitting across the desk from me. So some of it is thinking about what is their motivation in this position? Why would they have decided that I'm the person that they want in this position? And then tapping in on some of those to create a really effective message and story about yourself and who you are. And I think a lot of that has to do with, again, it comes back to having the confidence in yourself that you're actually worth it, and that that you do bring a unique set of skills, and then you just need to practice telling your story and practice having these conversations. So anytime I'm working with people on advocacy, if I'm sending people in to go lobby on a bill that they care about or whatever, no way are they going in without practicing that skill with me first. And so if you need to do it 10 times to get comfortable with it, or 100 times, find a great friend who's willing to sit down with you and have you practice doing some of this negotiation, so you get comfortable about talking about why you deserve what you were negotiating for, what kind of salary you're negotiating towards. Try it a number of different ways where you get told flat out, like, no, we can't do any of that. And then, trying to either come back for a different kind of ask, or asking for other possible options, but practicing so you gain confidence and so you feel good. But then also, again, just being able to tell your story in a way that's compelling, that reaches the person that's sitting in the position to give you something. It's like that person, while I think you do have a lot of power in this situation, they are holding the purse strings ultimately. And so you need to figure out, like, what are the things that you can talk about yourself that will help them untie those purse strings a little bit and dump their gold in your lap. So, those are just some very basic tips, but more than anything, practicing and feeling confident when you're doing it.
And attend Kelly's workshop.
Yeah, Saturday the 21st. I think some of you are probably coming. Yeah.
So you say self-advocacy, I say political games, whatever. So I have a couple of very political tips. Again, I've written them down, so no worries. When you know somebody's, and these are like really truly from my perspective, so adapt them as you will. When somebody's calling you with an offer, don't answer the phone. Let them leave you a voicemail. And I say that for exactly the reason that you say, is it's because even if it's just, hey, I'm calling with great news, please give me a call back, you know that that's an offer when you make that call back, right? And so, or hey, I'm calling to speak with you about your candidacy. Like, you can usually get, I try to indicate in that message, like, and I'm not going to give you the offer over voicemail, but I try to indicate in that message that I've got good news for you, or I'm just calling with an update on our process, you're no longer a candidate. And so what it does is it allows you to really kind of tap into the fact that you're probably not getting an offer face-to-face. And so you can do so much of this work on paper in your own time, take a few extra minutes, and gather your thoughts. What happens when they say to me, this is the salary? What will I say in that circumstance? And I say that you say, oh, I don't know where.
Have this in front of you.
I don't remember what I said. But like, just asking a simple question, like, don't say yes, I'll take it. That's a no. But saying something simple like, is there any flexibility in that salary, or is that salary negotiable at all? Find something that works for you, that's caring, compassionate, but gets to the point, because that's when you will find out that no, there's no room. And sometimes, and what I've often done and have done before, is I've actually called a candidate and I've said, I just want you to know up front, like, I have done what I have already could on your behalf to negotiate the highest possible salary for this position. That's great. And for me, it says that your employer really wants you, and so they're giving you as much as they can with what you're coming to the table with, because they've got a lot more political clout within the organization. So sometimes you'll get that if, in my opinion, you have a really great supervisor who knows how to advocate for you before you're even one of their staff members, and that's great. But I would say don't answer the phone. Make sure that before you get off the phone, you have the salary offer. Like, I've had people who have left the phone and they're like, but I still don't know how much I'm being paid. You should know that. So have that salary offer. And have a couple of basic questions about basic benefits, right? I would say something like moving expenses and then also like live-in or live-on details. Those are some really great things. If you know that this is the position that's going to be offering those things, those can be really helpful, and they kind of help you chip away at the benefits conversation throughout the course of your interview process, so that you're not saying, I have 48 questions about all the different things that you offer. You can kind of chip away at those. And I really do say don't say yes right away. I say, when would you need a final decision on this? Or would it be all right if I take the weekend to think over everything that we've discussed? Those to me are great statements. And they tell me that the person is really thinking about it, that they want to make sure that this is a good long-term fit for them as well. And then as soon as you hang up the phone, you call human resources. And you ask human resources all those questions that you've got. That is my perspective, not how everyone will do their negotiations.